Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to ForverCraft. And well, it's been a minute. Why don't I show you around? So here's the thing. I've been playing a lot of Minecraft, but I haven't been making a lot of videos. So I thought, instead of combing through hours and hours of replay footage to get you guys caught up on what's going on, we just go for a nice little walk and take a look at the world that we've created so far. We've been streaming quite a bit, and we're streaming here on YouTube now as well. So the VODs are available if you want to catch up the slow way. But if not, I think I'll show you around with a nice little tour. First step, we've got our enchant table. If you saw the early episodes of ForverCraft, you've seen this thing. A cool little enchanted ruin build. Kind of, subtle, not a huge grand build, but I think it's pretty fitting for the first enchant that I built in this forever world. The next stop on our little curated pathway here is our iron farm. In there, we've got 3 villagers, a zombie, and a little kill chamber up top for the iron golem. All that iron gets processed and gets shot underground into our little villager trading work area. You've seen this in the beginning of the video, but this was our first house we ever built on ForverCraft. This is our starter house. This is probably one of my favorite interiors I've done. It's a little cozy. It's not like, again, not a grand build, but it's just enough to kind of sell a cool little starter building. We had good storage, plenty of crafting, all that stuff, but as you can see, we've moved out. But don't worry, that's later in the tour. We'll get there. Next stop along our pathway here, we've got a little bit of a lava farm there, but that's not really interesting enough to show even. But up here around the corner was another pretty early build in our ForverCraft journey. That's the skeleton farm. Up here we got pretty lucky, and there's a skeleton dungeon just underground here. So we drop the skeletons, they go to some water elevators, it shoots them up, and we stand right here and slice them. This thing's pretty out of date now, and honestly, I never come here anymore. But for the first few weeks on the server, this thing was clutch. We got everything enchanted, all of our stuff was repaired. Early game skeleton farms are just always fun, and it's just a little bit nostalgic. Once we wrapped up these builds in this area, we moved on to the fun part, which was our first kind of big area that we completed. Well, completed-ish on ForverCraft. And that is our mining outpost on an alien planet. You got a little sneak peek there over the ridge, but this build was kind of designed to be approached from this canyon here. And you get a little peek now because, well, we built something relatively large, and I couldn't build mountains big enough to obscure the whole thing, okay? So you walk through this little canyon, and before you know it, you're transported to another world. This is Site 17, a hydrogen mining outpost where they get fuel for a space station somewhere up in the imaginary Minecraft outer space. This is our cargo ship where they take deliveries to and from the mining outpost. This is where the maintenance guy lives. This is our little home away from home here. We lived here for a little bit while we were crafting and working in this area. Got our cool little 2-legged mech, nice little lamppost. This thing has a garage. Don't worry about that. We were selling some blue ice to other members on the server, and I don't have shops set up yet, so we've just got random shulkers in our world. We've got a cool little garage built in here. This is where we were storing some of our other materials, but we've consolidated all that into a new location. So for now, it's just a fun little decoration. It's almost like an over-cluttered garage. You know when someone's lived somewhere too long and you can't open the garage door anymore? That's kind of what's going on here. The next thing we built in this zone was the cargo ship, and this is probably one of my more favorite builds we've ever done, because I've never really tried to tackle something like this, and I think it just totally sold the, what would a spaceship look like in Minecraft, right? It's a little boxy, it's a little, technologically unadvanced. I don't know, we're getting some weird artifacting. I'm not really sure what's causing that, but let's not worry about it and continue with the tour. Not much of an interior on the cargo ship, although we did do a little bit. It was supposed to be a cargo ship, so we did some, big old cargo crates. I've got some redstone lamps and stuff to kind of sell the technology. I was going to originally use this as our actual starter base when I designed it, but we decided to go with the starter hovel over there, and this just became a build for aesthetics only. But it's still a pretty fun build. At the same time-ish that we were completing this spaceship and platform, we also put the mines in place. I'm not done with this build because I want to create an underground ice cave where they're actually extracting the hydrogen for the fuel. So there'll be some form of either redstone elevator or drop chute here where we can drop down underground into an ice cave is kind of my idea. So that the theory would be that they're separating hydrogen from the ice, but we haven't got there yet. That's on our list. Once we completed that, we built our portal to connect ourselves up to our nether highway. So this was our portal for this area. It's a little more futuristic than the rest of the builds. But I thought if you're doing an end portal, it felt pretty technologically advanced. So we went with a little more like clean white marble look and some, you know, some wires and bulbs and stuff as well. And then finally, the last thing we built here before moving on to our next area was the warehouse. Everyone's going to have a corporate input, especially on a mining outpost. And this was our corporate warehouse. Site 17 was going to be originally our semi-permanent storage for the world. And we actually had a whole categorical multi-item sorter designed that we were going to put right in the middle of this thing. And the more I worked here and the more I realized I wasn't going to build permanently in our forever world in this location, the less it made sense to build that massive thing. So instead I turned it into some storage cells so it kind of looks like a warehouse, and then I called it good. A fun little tip for you if you're trying to decorate your world with some cool mechanical device stuff, the Enigma Man on YouTube is a really good source for like cyberpunk futuristic stuff. And I saw this trick where you use a banner and hoppers and you get this cool little piston effect where the banners wave through the hoppers. I just thought that was a really cool thing, and it fit pretty well in our little, you know, advanced technological warehouse thingamajig. And that's it for the space build. This place really shines at nighttime, but it also is not mob safe, and it's not even mob safe under there, as you can see. We definitely need to work on some lighting, but it just hasn't been a priority. One more thing I forgot to mention, as I said, we're not really using the skeleton spawner anymore. We're now using an Armadillo XP farm. So what happens is these armadillos get scared by this zombie, which means they ball up and don't take damage. But you can still do ticks of damage, quote unquote, to them with a fire pit. So if we then splash these armadillos with a potion of infestation, it spawns a whole bunch of silverfish. We hop up here, we slice away at them, and we get XP. I'm not going to run it right now because, for one, it's really annoying, and for two, I don't want to craft more potions. So there, it is what it is. Ah, here it comes. The sun is setting, and the effect is truly going to set in. But for me, this is the best shot for the mining outpost. The stars come out, the sun goes down, and you get this nice, like, bright pops of light from the different builds. And it really, truly feels like you're on some kind of alien planet. There's no grass, there's no trees, there's no outside influence from the Minecraft world. This is one of the favorite areas I've ever built and have ever like existed in a Minecraft, so pretty happy with how this build came out. But the best way I've found to stay motivated in your Minecraft world is to move on and do different stuff. So that's what we did. We packed up our bags, grabbed everything from our starter house, but we moved on to a semi-permanent, I'm calling it a quote-unquote forever project. You know, nothing's forever. I'm sure we'll finish it someday. But the whole idea is this next build is something that we can work on over the long haul. We can break off for different projects and work on different stuff, but we can always come back and continue to work in this forever spooky Lovecraftian harbor. I'm pretty happy with this thing so far. This is what we have been absolutely grinding on stream. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I am streaming on TikTok and on YouTube now, so if you want to check out the VODs, they're all there, and there will be more to come. But yeah, this is our Lovecraftian harbor. The whole idea of this place is that it's got a kind of spooky vibe. It's like an early 1900s Industrial Revolution kind of time period I'm going for, so we'll have a big old steamboat we're going to build right here next to the dock. We curated this whole cliffside and created a nice boardwalk that goes all the way down, and then it continues all the way this way around to the cove. We've got our little local dock for the local fishing boats and maybe like a tugboat, and then this big long dock is for our big steamboat that I want to build eventually. For now, we're living in the harbor master's house. This is our semi-permanent, again, storage. I think this one will be good for a while, but it's probably not big enough for an actual forever storage, but I think it is big enough to get the job done for now. This is our storage room. It's taken a little bit of getting used to. We have actually put signs on our storage, which is not something I've done in my last few worlds. And I'll tell you what, it turns out labeling stuff, pretty handy. I highly recommend it. But even still, we're still getting moved in, and we have this entire wall already set up for expansion. There's no items over here. Everything we've owned in this world to this point is all fit on this one wall. And to do that, we used shulkers. Shulkers and shulkers and shulkers. So, the other project that we worked on outside of the Lovecraftian harbor, the boardwalk, this little harbor master house build, and also, come on, why can't I sleep? Oh, the other thing that we've worked on in this world outside of the Lovecraftian harbor The starter area and the space-themed area, Site 17, is we built a whole shulker farm and mob farm to supply our rockets and other like mob drops, and also to supply our shulkers. It's the first time I've ever built a shulker farm, and I just followed the tutorial, so I won't really show that off, but I think it's by the Archivist is the YouTube channel, and it's something like the easiest shulker farm. So we did build a shulker farm as well in the meantime, so we have infinite shulker shells effectively for this world. And this is our next project. The next part I want to do in this world, now that we've been streaming a lot more and we're starting to get subs unlocked and things like that for other platforms, I've decided to create a graveyard in our Lovecraftian harbor. And the whole idea of the graveyard is that different members and subs for the channel will get their name on a gravestone. A little dark, but it's a remembrance in the world, and it's a forever world, so that's pretty cool, huh? Nah, but I just thought it was a cool way to show support to people that have supported the channel, so we're gonna give everyone a name on a gravestone. At least that's what the first few members will get. As many gravestones as we can fit on this little shelf here, and we're gonna do a big old fence build and decorate this whole thing, and then I want to build a big old crypt into the side of this mountain. And inside of that crypt will be kind of the expansion for the graveyard. So once we've filled up all the possible plots with gravestones, we'll probably do those like in-wall style crypt burial sites in the mountain, because we can expand that pretty far to keep putting future people's names on those as well. And that's what we've gotten done in our first 1,000 days, technically probably slightly more, on ForverCraft. And I've got so many more ideas, and I just can't wait to keep building this world. I'm really starting to get these like settled areas. Our starter area is really cool, the space area is cool, and a few more builds, and honestly this is going to feel like a pretty cool place to visit as well, so I'm pretty excited for that. I'm going to try to get a little bit more consistent again and get these videos out to you more frequently, but if you want to see more of the progress in the world, and as we're progressing things over time, we will be streaming a lot more. That's not going anywhere, and we'll be doing it right here on YouTube, so just subscribe, ring that notification bell, and come hang out, because we have a good time on stream. Anyway, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate you. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one.